Hello guys, welcome to this week's episode of History Ride. Today we'll be taking a ride into the fascinating history of eyeshadow. I promise that its history will get you surprised in our pilot episode of this series last week. Let's wait no further, let's get you surprised and fascinated. It seems like the eyeshadow has been around since the beginning of time. Everything, of course, has its beginning. So when and where did this beloved product we know and love come to be? The eyeshadow dates back to early Egypt, some 12,000 years ago, when the first eyeshadow called kohl was invented. If you're named Kohl, I'm sorry you were named after the first eyeshadow. I've heard far worse though. Kohl is made from lead, known for its harmful side effects which are covered in a previous video on foundation, oxidized copper, crushed acrimony, malachite to name a few. Although the eyeshadow was part of a religious ritual, it was mostly used by royalty to make them appear more like gods and goddesses. Often, the tones of this eyeshadow were beige, nude, and brown. The eyeshadow lost its religious significance when it was used in Rome and Greece. The Greek eyeshadows were used of greens and blues, and the Romans made their eyeshadows. If only I got $1 every time I said the word eyeshadow, I'll be rich. Well, it was made from recipes involving herbs, crushed minerals, dried flowers, animal sauces, and so on. But the good stuff came from distant kingdoms of Babylon and India and was really expensive, so only royalty or upper class women and men could use them. While the Japanese really surprised me on this one, pretty crazy stuff. They made their eyeshadows from bird poop, aka chicken poop, flower petals, white flowers in the 11th century. Eyeshadow trends through the decades. The 1900s ushered in the fashion revolution. Well, kind of actually started in the 1920s, but you get the point. And the eyeshadow took kind of center stage. In the 1910s, eyeshadows and other cosmetics began to be worn by many women who are not actresses and prostitutes, believe it or not. Still, women didn't want to be overt in their use of eyeshadows, so they favored light and natural tones. The 1920s saw women who are more daring and coupled with voting rights for women. Yay! Women were a lot bolder, and this was evident in their makeup, especially the eyeshadow. Women favored darker, thicker, and smoky eyeshadows. The 1930s, famous for the Great Depression, undoubtedly weighed down on women who now favored a much less flashy look, a neutral tone eyeshadow or light pastel. The 1940s, this time famous for the Second World War and rationing, women's introduction to the workforce saw the use of eyeshadows of natural tones of brown and beige. The 1950s saw the reintroduction of light pastel to match a pink or red lipstick, made popular by famous actress Marilyn Monroe. The 60s was all about false eyelashes, and eyeshadows took a backseat, often done to complement the eyelashes, so pale icy pastel or white eyeshadows were favored. The 1970s favored a more neutral look with little to no use of eyeshadow, but things took a different turn at the end of the decade. The 80s, famous for the disco look, eyeshadows were bold, bright, and vivid, with neon-colored eyeshadows. Popular colors were blue, bright green, pink, and purple. The 1990s took a break from the color splash of the 80s, favoring more neutral colors like beige, brown, nude, and sandy tones. The turn of the century brought about social media age, and with it came selfies, which spurred interest back into makeup, but not the craziness of the 80s. Instead, a more natural eye color and richer shades of eyeshadow. 2010s is all about the eyebrows. Eyeshadow is chosen to enhance the eyebrows, and as we round off the decade, eyeshadows are chosen from colors meant to enhance our eyes. So what comes next? I believe that's a question only the teenagers can answer, or teens for short, or maybe the next fashion icon or model. Thanks for joining me on today's ride on the eyeshadow. One I would say was pretty interesting for me, and I hope you enjoyed it too. If you're still watching, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, like, share, and comment, especially if your name is Kohl. Goodbye and have a wonderful day.